A native of Shreveport, Louisiana, Danny Rolling was the son of James and Claudia Rolling. James was a decorated Korean War veteran who worked as a police officer, while Claudia stayed home to care for the children and manage their household. However, as reported by Biography, Rolling's childhood was far from ideal. His father, James, was described as controlling and violent. In addition to abusing his wife, James reportedly verbally and physically abused both of his sons. Danny, in particular, seemed to be strongly affected by the abuse. Following his divorce from his wife in the late 1980s, Danny Rolling began committing murder. His first victims were 24-year-old Julie Grissom, her 55-year-old father Tom, and her 8-year-old nephew Sean. 2 years later, he killed 5 college students. Danny Rolling, who was dubbed the Gainesville Ripper, ultimately pleaded guilty to 5 counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of the college students and was subsequently sentenced to death. Rolling was not identified as the Gainesville Ripper until several years after he killed the 5 college students. By 1992, Rolling was in jail awaiting trial for the armed robbery of a Winn-Dixie grocery store. Biography reports he was facing multiple life sentences if convicted, as he had numerous prior convictions for armed robbery. Although he was eventually named a suspect in the Gainesville Ripper killings, authorities had little evidence and nothing directly tying him to the crimes. Using a tooth, which Rolling had extracted while incarcerated, authorities were finally able to match his DNA to the evidence found at the scene. Although he initially denied the charges, Rolling eventually confessed, killing a total of 8 people between 1989 and 1990. Following his arrest, Rolling was interviewed by a number of mental health professionals who all agreed he had some form of mental illness. As reported by Orlando Sentinel, the experts also agreed that the Gainesville Ripper was legally sane and was therefore fit to stand trial. On numerous occasions, Rolling claimed he had multiple personalities. According to Rolling, one of those personalities, whom he referred to as Gemini, was responsible for committing the Gainesville Ripper murders. The mental health professionals who interviewed Rolling concluded he was mentally ill and clearly shifted from role to role. However, they did not find any evidence to support his assertion that he had multiple personalities. Prosecutor Rod Smith believes Rolling came up with the multiple personality story after watching the film Exorcist III. The film was about the spirit of an executed serial killer called Gemini, who possesses other people and forces them to commit murder. One of the psychologists who interviewed Rolling said the killer admitted to watching Exorcist III in the weeks before killing his first victims. Dr. Robert Sadoff, who testified at Rolling's trial, said Rolling may have identified with the movie because Gemini is his astrological sign. During his testimony, Sadoff said, "Most of us would take that as coincidence, but not the magical thinking of Danny Rolling. He would see that as kind of a sign. Somebody is communicating directly to me through the movie." The movie's plot may have also inspired the grisly nature of one of the Gainesville Ripper's first murders. As reported by Orlando Sentinel, one of the victims in the movie was decapitated and her torso was sliced open. Rolling's 4th victim, Krista Hoyt, was also decapitated and her torso was sliced open, similarly to the victim in the movie. In the 1990s, the Gainesville Ripper murders caught the attention of writer Kevin Williamson and eventually inspired him to pen a screenplay about a killer who preyed on college students. That screenplay eventually became Scream. However, the killer in the movie had little in common with Danny Rolling, and the completed work had little resemblance to the actual murders.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
In addition to Scream, Danny Rolling's murder spree inspired the 2010 film The Gainesville Ripper. Biography reports the Gainesville Ripper murders also inspired a number of books, including Danny Rolling's own account of his crimes, titled The Making of a Serial Killer, The Real Story of the Gainesville Student Murders in the Killer's Own Words, which he co-wrote with journalist Sandra London. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Grunge videos about your favorite true crime stories are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.